Hello aspirants, welcome to OPSC NEXUS. This is our second class of Polity series. This course is specially designed for OPSC prelims where the second important chapter is Sources of Indian Constitution. If you have not watched the first class, please go and watch after this class. Moving on, let's start our today's class, Sources of Indian Constitution or borrowed feature of Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution is the largest written constitution in the world, and our constitution makers have traveled several countries, studied various constitution. After lots of research, they have added several features of other constitution to our constitution. Although it is borrowed, they have not added it as it is. It means it is not copy and pasted. Wherever it is required, they have done the applicable modification, how it will fit to our country based on the population, based on the other things, and they have added. All right. So you have to remember that this is very important class because every year at least one or two question comes from this topic in OCS preliminary examination. All right. So watch this class cautiously and remember everything. If you can't remember in one time watch, you can watch it several times, but remember, because this class is going to give you a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 6 or more marks in the prelims. All right. So let's start our sources of Indian Constitution. So the first thing is from Government of India Act 1935. 70% of our constitution, 70% of features has been added to our constitution. Okay. So the Government of India Act 1935 was functioning before we got the freedom in 1947. Even after that, it was continuing till our constitution enforced on January 26, 1950. All right. So what are the main features which on exam point of view we will discuss now? That is Office of Governor, Judiciary structure, that is Federal Court, which later turned into the Supreme Court. So now here you have to remember this: the Supreme Court now functioning is not the Supreme Court which was formed in during the Regulating Act. That is the different Supreme Court which was formed in Calcutta. But now the Supreme Court in Delhi was the Federal Court which came into existence after the Government of India Act 1935. Okay. Then Public Service Commissions, emergency provisions, administrative details. So there are many things which have been added from 1935 Act, but on exam point of view, you have to remember these five. All right. Next, this is from the British or UK Constitution. As we were already under the British rule for several years, more than 2 centuries, so and we were already acquainted with the form, so many of the features from the British Constitution has been added to Indian Constitution. All right. So the important one is parliamentary government. What is parliamentary government? The question is already asked in OPSC prelims. Council of Minister responsible to lower house. All right. Or Council of Minister responsible to Lok Sabha or legislative, anything. So this is the first thing. Second thing is rule of law. So you should not get confused with procedure established by law and rule of law. Rule of law is basically Article 14 of Indian Constitution. So this has come from the British Constitution. All right. So this is not procedure established by law. That has been borrowed from Japan, and this rule of law from British. All right. Then single citizenship. It means we don't have any dual citizenship. If you are already a citizen of India and you are acquiring a citizenship from another country, automatically your Indian citizenship will be cancelled. So the single citizenship has been come from British Constitution. Also in some other countries like USA, they have the dual citizenship. We don't have the dual citizenship, we have the single citizenship. Throughout the country you have the citizenship of India, not from any state. Okay. Then cabinet system of ministers. This is also come from British Constitution. Here you have to remember one more thing, that they have the shadow cabinet system also, but in India we don't have the shadow cabinet. And the word cabinet was first time mentioned in Indian Constitution during 44th Amendment 1978. All right. Next, legislative procedure. Bicameralism, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, that it means two houses are there in our parliament. Then parliamentary privileges, then prerogative rights. These are the rights which is mentioned in the Article 32 of the Indian Constitution under fundamental rights. Then nominal head, as in UK there is a queen, in India we have president. So all the power vested on prime minister, not on the head of the state. Okay. Then speaker of Lok Sabha, then post of PM. So these two are also very important. What is the article of speaker of Lok Sabha? It is 93, and PM article is 75. All right. Then next, from the USA Constitution. Okay, so we have fundamental rights, judicial review, independence of judiciary, impeachment of president, removal of High Court and Supreme Court judges, post of vice president. So fundamental right, you know, the article starts from 12 to 35, but the fundamental rights actually start from Article 14 and end with 32. The rest are substitute to the fundamental rights, like it is the continuation of some exception or judicial review, something like that. Judicial review article is Article 13. Independence of judiciary, impeachment of president. What is the article? Article 61. Removal of High Court and Supreme Court judges, post of vice president. All right, now you remember all of this. So now one thing I have not added, that is preamble, also we have borrowed from USA Constitution. All right. Next, from the Canadian Constitution. Federation with a strong center. It means the federal structure, the federalism. So it is not directly mentioned in the Indian Constitution that India is a federation, but it is explained as India Union of State, where it is mentioned Article 1. Okay. But you have to remember the word India is a federal state is not mentioned in the Indian Constitution, but Indian system is federalism system. It's like a Canadian Constitution, not like USA and some other state. Okay, so here, what does it means? It means Indian states are indestructible part of indestructible union. It means if the state, any state wants also, that state cannot be separated from India. Okay, so what it has been done, like India is a country in that we have carved out the states, but here what we can do, like what the parliament can do, They can divide the state, change the boundary, anything can be possible. Any new state can be added, but whatever already included under Indian territory cannot be separated from the country. Okay. Then next, appointment of then residuary powers vested in center. It means you know that we have three list: union list, state list, and concurrent list. If any power which is not written in any of the list, where the power vested, it vested on the center. Then appointment of governors by center. We know that who appoint the governor, it is the president. Advisory jurisdiction of Supreme Court. So what is the article of governor? It is 153. And what is the article of advisory jurisdiction of Supreme Court? 143. So here the Supreme Court can advise to president whenever president asks for it. Then next, from the Irish Constitution. So it is DPSP, Directive Principle of State Policy, enshrined in Part 3 of Indian Constitution. I'm sorry, Part 4 of Indian Constitution. Part 3 is fundamental right. So what is the article? The article is from Article 36 to 51. Then nomination of members to Rajya Sabha. So here we will see in the further slides where the election of Rajya Sabha is mentioned. You have to compare and read. Nomination of member of Rajya Sabha is from Irish Constitution. DPSP is from Irish Constitution. Method of election of president is also from Irish Constitution. That is from Ireland. Next, other sources. Here we can see that Australia, from Australia, concurrent list, freedom of trade, joint sitting of parliament. Okay, what is the article of joint sitting of parliament? It is 108. From Germany Constitution, suspension of fundamental right during emergency. So here you should not get confused with the emergency provision and the suspension of fundamental rights during emergency. The emergency provision is from 1935 Act, and suspension of fundamental right during emergency is from Germany Constitution, which was earlier known as Weimar Constitution. Then from South Africa, procedure of constitutional amendment, election of Rajya Sabha members. So in the previous slide we have studied that nomination to Rajya Sabha is from Irish Constitution and election to Rajya Sabha is from South Africa Constitution. Okay. From France, ideal of liberty, equality, fraternity in preamble. This we have already studied in the previous class where we were studied about the preamble. Then from Japan, procedure established by law. This I have already told you, do not get confused with rule of law and procedure established by law. Then from USSR, that is Russia, we have borrowed fundamental duties. So this is Article 51A, which is added during 42nd constitutional amendment. Then ideal of justice in preamble. Okay. So this is all about the sources of Indian Constitution. I have not added the PYQ here because there are so many PYQ and this class was little lengthy. So what I have planned is once I will complete all the important topics of Indian polity, at one go I will make a class for all the PYQs related to Indian polity, so we can discuss. Definitely before your prelims we will discuss that, so it will be a revision for you, but please go through the PYQ after watching this class, so that you can solve it yourself, and when we will discuss in our class it will be printed in your mind. Okay, if you have any questions regarding this class, or you want some other important topic to cover in my next class, please comment, write it in comment section. And if you like this class, please subscribe and wait for the next class. All right, if you want the PDF, please follow the Telegram channel of OPSC Nexus. Thank you. Stay tuned for the next class.